Bienvenidos to Humans in Accounting, the podcast where we pause the AI buzz for a minute and focus on the real humans behind the numbers. We chat with founders and leaders to hear their journey, what drives them, and the important things in life. Because behind every balance sheet, there's a story worth telling. Humans in Accounting is brought to you by South Offices. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Humans in Accounting, where leaders share their story behind the spreadsheets. I am Alex Roman, your host, and this podcast is brought to you by South Offices, connecting accounting talent across borders. Today's guest, I'm so happy to have Chad Folse, owner at ABT Financial Consultants. Chad, it's a pleasure to have you here in Humans in Accounting. Welcome.
Pleasure to be here.
Great. Happy. We never actually met, but we've talked already a few times. And well, here we are recording this episode. Tell me a little bit. I want to know everything about ABT Financial Consultants. I know that you've been in business for a few years. Tell me a little bit about your background, how you started. You've been in business for over 20 years, right?
Yeah. So this story might be a little longer than you were expecting, but let me start way back in the beginning. So my grandfather actually had got into the business in the 70s, I think it was, in the late 70s. He had moved to Flagstaff, Arizona, because it was due to for health reasons, and had sold a previous business that he had that was not related to accounting. And I was talking to people, so met some people, and just sort of ended up with a bookkeeping business. And he didn't buy it, it was sort of given to him, he kind of inherited it. And my father at the time was working as an auditor for the Department of Labor down in Phoenix, Arizona. And they talked, and my grandma was like, I could use some help here. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff I know, because he was just kind of a smart guy who figured he'd been doing the bookkeeping for his business his whole life, but didn't really know like the more nuanced technical stuff. So my dad quit his auditor job and basically started the business. So that was when I was a little kid. I don't even remember any of that stuff. But basically, yeah, my dad ran it like my whole life, and got my mom. And I hated accounting when I was a kid. They basically, the main thing is they did taxes. And so from like January through April, like we never got to go skiing. The dishes were never done. The grass was always like knee high, and they're just whatever, busy, never around. So I'm like, I hate this. I'm never going to do this. Anyway, so I ended up going to college, getting a degree in physics. And when I finished, I was like, pretty sure I don't want to be a physicist every day. I want to do something a little more interesting, a little more, whatever. But it took me a long time to figure that out.
Yeah, you realized when you actually finished the degree that this is something that usually happens, or I heard this story one or two times. You finished the degree, the physics degree, and you said, no, maybe this is not for me, right?
Well, it was almost like I got like 3/4 of the way through it, and I'm like, I don't think I want to sit at a desk and do this all day, every day, right? I'm like, this is interesting, but I don't see that as being the what you might call the pinnacle of my existence. So, but in the end, I ended up getting an engineering job because it's just sort of the continuation, and ended up not liking that either. Quitting my job, selling all my stuff, and moving to Europe with my girlfriend and current wife. And yeah, so we were kind of living back and forth between the two places. Anyway, so long story short, I guess the next phase here is that I was in my 30s, and I realized, maybe, I guess, actually, after moving to Europe, I moved back, and my dad had grown his practice, and he said, hey, you might want to, I was looking for a job. I moved back from Europe. He's like, you might want to check this out. I'm like, all right. So I started, and I was actually kind of good at it. It wasn't too hard and kind of interesting and a bunch of stuff, right? So I just kind of got involved and did that for a couple of years. And that was like in 2005, I think.
Okay.
And in 2005, my wife wanted to move back to Europe. And so I'm like, cool. We got our faxes that go straight into our computer now. There's a thing called voice over internet protocol, which you can like have an American number and you can answer anywhere in the world. I could do this from anywhere. I can remote into my my QuickBook desktop. That's on the server in our office in Phoenix. And so I'm like, oh, this new technology, this is gonna be great. I can do this from Spain. So I pack up my bags and I move to Spain. And with my dial-up internet Spain, that just did not work very good. So anyway, I had to push pause on that and kind of revisited it about 10 years later. And when I saw that, QuickBooks Online and Xero had really actually matured enough to be actual practical solutions, and like there was a bunch of stuff happening online. And so at that point, I'm like, well, maybe I should actually like get a degree, actually know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so basically, I quit my job. We moved back to Phoenix. I went back to college to get a master's degree in accounting, and essentially started a business all at the same time. That was kind of a busy couple of years, and yeah, that was. And then in 2017, we actually moved back to Spain, and since then, I've been running it with my dad for the first few years from here, and then last couple, I bought him out a few years ago, and he retired. And so it's just been me. But anyway, that's the short version of how I got into this. Yeah, it's been quite the journey. Not exactly like, straight out of college, joined the Big Four, and then,
Incredible story. I have like so many questions. So you actually, after that, when did you start it, or when did you started your degree in accounting?
It was 2014.
Whoa, very good. And now you're currently in Spain, right?
Yeah. So the thing about like the being in business for 20 years is like we started ABT. Like the business had existed way before that, but then we started the actual business at ABT in 2004, I think is what it was. And then when I was working with my dad hand in hand in Phoenix. But then I took a small break where I took a big step back and didn't completely quit, but just sort of wasn't fully in the day-to-day stuff. But yeah.
Right. And probably in 2005, instead of having a dial-up, and if it was more, I don't know, real, just to handle everything through Spain, probably you would have started, working with your dad probably before. And well, but it's an incredible story. I didn't know this. And now, yes, you currently, where in Spain are you? I don't know this.
Yeah, I'm on the west coast, near a city called Santiago de Compostela. So that's
Yeah.
it's like just a couple hours north of Porto in Portugal, so on the Atlantic coast.
Okay, perfect. I've been.
Galicia, and there's a bunch of Gallegos in Argentina. Because there's a big immigration, whatever, in the 60s and 70s and stuff.
Yeah. You know that actually my last name is Roman, and in Spanish I would say Roman. Roman, it's actually from Vigo, I think. I have family, so yeah. They're Gallegos. Gallegos, we would say it in Argentinian Spanish. And hey, hold on. Now that we're talking about this, do you now you've been living there for how many years you've been living in Spain?
Yeah, I actually lived in Vigo from 21 to 22, 2001 to 2002. So that was when I first moved out here. And then I think I've been living here, I think that's like 14 minus 8, 16 years, I guess it's been. So,
Okay. So you're fluent in Spanish?
Yeah, I do okay.
Okay, great. And did you know Spanish before going to Europe, or you learned it there?
Yeah, I mean, I could say this is my big yellow pencil or something stupid like that because I've taken like three and a half years of Spanish in high school and college. But no, I learned through a lot of embarrassment and just being in the spot where you're like you got to say something, so you talk. I actually worked in like business development for about 8 years, I guess, for a company here, a local company that we, so it was like just day to day, every day having to speak Spanish with people and, make it happen. So yeah, I do okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that that's the best way just to learn by embarrassment. It's probably the way you're gonna learn the most. So, well, incredible story. When I asked you this question, I didn't know all this. Let me ask you. And now at ABT Financial Consultants, do you work like with a specific type of clients? Do you have like a niche that you work with?
Yeah, we've been working. Our main focus for the last few years has been working with virtual companies, software developers, SaaS companies, digital media agencies that basically don't have, most of them don't have an office, like remote teams, similar to us, and that they don't have an accounting department. And so we are the accounting department. We do the books every month, sometimes every day. We handle the tax filings, sort of like a streamlined service. So that's where we've been focusing most of our attention here the last few years. But as my team has grown, we brought on a couple other expats, and I'm like, yeah, there's opportunity to help the expat community. So we're also working on another service package, but around those needs for specifically Americans, who don't live in the country and feel compelled to comply with the filing requirements of being an American.
I understand. And I have a question. Do you have, by any chance, any client in Spain, for instance, or no?
Yeah, we got a couple. It hasn't been anything we've been focused on, so we're more like friends and family. But we actually are talking to one company right now. It's a software company that received an investment from an American, and the Americans said, well, if you're going to expand into America, we want you to have an American company. And so that turned into a whole series of events where now they've formed an American entity and are asking us to help them, handle some of the administration and the finances. That's sort of the next step.
Okay, that's really interesting. I'm just realizing that you're the first guest here in Humans in Accounting that is actually connected from another continent. So yeah, Chad, you're the first one. Now I just need to cross the other continents, and I need just to find a guest from Africa, Asia, Australia, etc. Great. I wanted just to ask you. Oh no, this is an important question. I don't know how familiar you are with Humans in Accounting, but here, how do I say this? I'm a foodie guy. For me, one important thing in life is eating nice food, and I don't want to miss this question specifically with you. So I'm gonna go right to the point and ask you this direct question, and I'm hoping for one direct answer. The question is, Chad, what's your favorite food?
I would say my favorite food is insalate caprese, caprese salad. But there's a story if you're interested. But we can just leave it at that if you want direct.
No. I'm really interested. But before the story, just want to make sure that we are online with the same. I mean, we're looking at the same salad. Is this like mozzarella, tomatoes, and what's the word that I'm?
Yeah, basil and
Basil.
olive oil. Yeah, and
Olive
then
oil.
some people add avocados and balsamic vinegar as well as a little bit on top. But yeah, that's the basic thing. Just three or four ingredients: tomatoes, cheese, oil, and basil.
Tell me the story.
So the funny story is I went to those American dances like prom or homecoming or something like that. I can't remember which one it was, to be honest. But yeah, so we went to this restaurant, me and like maybe 4 or 5 other people, and we get there and I'm like, I've been living in Arizona my whole life, like have no idea about a lot of things. And we sit down and it's this pretty nice Italian restaurant. I open the menu and they're like, we should order some appetizers, and I'm like, I don't have a clue what any of the stuff is. And so there's this thing called caprese, and I'm like, okay. And like I start looking at the ingredients, and it says it's cheese. There's cheese, and and I'm like, I know what cheese is, and I know what mozzarella. That's what you put on pizza, right? It's a fresh mozzarella, but I don't really know what that meant. And then it's a basil. I heard of that. That's a spice or a herb or whatever. Like that's as much as I knew at that point. And there's olive oil, which I'm like, okay, that's whatever. So I'm like, this sounds like mozzarella sticks, like. Like
Nothing to do.
like Denny's, like Denny's are mozzarella sticks. It's like, it's cheese, and there's like you get the tomato sauce on the sides. There's the tomato, and there's like some little green flecks of something in it. So I'm like, that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be like mozzarella sticks. I'm like, let's go for it. And so anyway, of course, then they bring a plate with like a slice of tomato, a slice of cheese, a little tiny thing of basil, and that's drowning. Oh no, what have I got here? So anyway, obviously it wasn't what I was expecting, and Arizona tomatoes in like December are not the best. But now I have realized that tomatoes in August, like we are now, from a garden, are amazing. And so it's one of those deals. It's like it's the greatest thing if you can get really good, really fresh tomatoes, and for like a month or two, it's just the best thing. It's just super flavorful, really good olive oil, and and of course some good bread to go with it. But yeah, that's my ignorance to seeing the light.
Whoa, but it's incredible that you selected that, and now you're in humans in accounting. And when I ask you what's your favorite food, the first thing that comes to mind is this ensalada caprese, I would say it in Spanish. And yeah, I agree with you. And it's incredible how like simple things combine together. It makes like a really good dish. So yeah, I can relate with that. Definitely, this is the my plan here, Chad, is just to put a ranking of the top food of the humans in accounting. This is the first vote that ensalada caprese is having, or caprese salad. But well, I'm gonna publish this when we get to 100 episodes. I'll let you know. All right, and we'll see what's the ranking of this caprese salad. Okay, great. Thank you for answering me that question. Let's go back to ABT Financial Consultants. I wanna know from what you do on a every day. Like, what's the thing that you enjoy the most? What's the thing that you like the most? Is it no? Actually, you tell me. Like, what's one thing that I was gonna give you a few options, but you tell me. I don't know.
Good thing because one of my best friends is always like, "Oh, what's your top five?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't really think like that. But if you put me in a corner, I can come up with something." So the things that I love doing are obviously spreadsheets and analyzing stuff. It's like, I don't know. It's one of those things where if I have the time and it's a prickly topic, if you will. There's been tons of time trying to figure stuff out and putting together a model and tinkering with it and that kind of stuff. But I find that I also love talking to the clients and helping them understand from two or three part things. Like one part is like, okay, we gotta pay the taxes, and what can we do about that, and what do you need to do, and what are the options, and what are the planning opportunities, and just helping them understand things, because it's obviously people who are hiring me are 99%, 9.9% of the time aren't accountants and haven't spent a lot of time figuring it out. There's a lot of teaching and explanation that I like doing to help people understand their situation. And then the other piece is just like, what are the numbers saying? Okay, we look at your business, and are there risks, are there opportunities, or you're profitable, you're not profitable, like which levers can be pulled? What are the downsides, upsides of bringing on more money as like from a loan or from equity, or just different things like that. So I enjoy that a lot. And I guess the third one, since you asked for one, we're rounding up here, is working with the team, because it's really, the team's grown a lot in the last couple of years, and it's been really fun to kind of figure out how to motivate people, how to keep them accountable, but keep it fun, and figure out what people really like, and what's in their wheelhouse, and where they thrive. So that's been a lot of fun the last couple of years too.
It's really important just to have that obviously great relationship with clients, and many companies, we feel that the most important thing is just to have the best relationship with clients. But it's also key, and this is maybe something that it took me a while to understand, but it's so important just to have that same or even better relationship with the people that you're working with your team. That's what makes a great culture. And again, we are waking up and spending a lot of time doing whatever we do, not only in accounting but in any business. It's so important just to I guess have fun and enjoy what we are doing. So I like that third point that you brought up. I think it's important. Chad, I wanna ask you. Tell me what is burn rate and beyond. You started a podcast. Tell me everything.
Yeah, so there's a couple of parts to that story. Part one is that we had a couple of clients sell last year, and that created, we were happy for them. It was good stuff. A couple of people retired, a couple of people sold and had a nice little exit. A couple of people sort of crashed and burned, whatever that kind of take them on the chin sometimes. But anyway, what it created in our firm was so for the first time we actually had excess capacity, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to lay people off. We should grow out of this. And so I started working with the marketing company, et cetera, et cetera. And they're like, you should start producing content. And I'm like, I'm not sure what the word is. I'm not one of those guys who wants to get on my soapbox and stay on the corner and be like, hey, I'm over here. Come. So through this organic process, I ended up working with one of my key employees who has experience as a CFO in his previous work. And so we thought, all companies, even if they don't actually need to afford a CFO, need to have somebody who works in that functionally some sort of capacity, understands the finance, understands the strategy, and can understand which levers to pull and which actions to take. And so we thought, we like working with software companies, and the big concept there is like your burn rate. It's like, okay, you bring on some funding, you get a loan, whatever it is, and what's your runway? How long do you have before you burn through all of your cash? And so we thought, okay, well, let's talk about different things that are related to that, and that apply not just to a software company who's running through venture capital funds, but applies to almost any business who's actually just trying to managing cash flow is always a problem, and just trying to figure out how to do it better, and the opportunities, pitfalls, and tools that can help.
Oh, that's great. And yeah, you basically started the podcast. Well, for all the listeners here in Humans in Accounting, you can check it out. I know you have a channel on YouTube, Burner.
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel, and it's like on Apple Podcasts and the normal ones, Spotify. And
when we publish this episode, I'll make sure just leave in the description the link for the channel so that viewers can check it out as well. But that's great. That's great. And now I know that you made a few episodes. You record like whenever you want, or you have like a specific period of time. How does that work?
We've been doing, we've been it's been just this year, so we've been averaging probably 2 or 3 a month for most of the year. And the initial idea was to kind of run through, I think it was like 18 episodes, which was like sort of a curriculum of like a basic set of tools. So we're getting towards the end of that. I think we're on episode 16 right now. And so now we're going to kind of have phase 2, where we might move into different pieces, and just talking to other people in the industry who might be useful to our listeners.
Okay, that's great. Well, something similar happened to me. I mean, I started with Michael Lee. I don't know, last year, the first episode of Humans in Accounting. Well, we made I don't know, over 20 episodes, and I'm recording, and I'm having great guests. Well, now even I'm interviewing people that are living in Spain. We are expanding. Tell me, Chad. I want to know plans for the future. Well, what are the plans for the future ABT Financial Consultants? Tell me. I don't know, for the rest of the year or for the upcoming years.
The plan right now, I guess, is just keep growing and keep. I feel like in this funny, what's the word? A phase of like cutting firewood. We're working on processes and building the team, and a bunch of, what you might call unsexy stuff that has to happen behind the scenes so that the machine can work better in the future. So we're kind of going through a big phase of that right now. But the big, just the big plans are to grow the two things I mentioned before, the outsourced bookkeeping for, software and software developing companies, and then try working on that expat service module. So we'll see how that goes. We've got a bunch of plans and a team to build and things to do. So hopefully it'll go well.
Perfect. Great. Perfect. And just to wrap up, this is a question that I've been asking to all my guests, and I really enjoy asking this question. I don't really enjoy asking the question. I enjoy listening to the answer. To this question, I would like if you can give maybe some advice for a listener, for a viewer in the future watching this episode who, I don't know, is considering starting their own firm, their own business, or maybe what's a good advice that someone could have given you, I don't know, when you decided just to jump and go all in and start working with your dad. What's a good advice that someone could have given you, or what's a good advice that you can give someone considering doing that now?
Well, lots of things come to mind, but I think a couple are, if you think you need an accountant, you need an accountant. It'll save you money in the long term. The other one is, it's just that there's this very fine line to walk, I feel like, between the sprint and the marathon. It's so funny. Like, I feel like I'm saying these things that I've heard of other people saying, like, oh, that's a bunch of bull, But like, you got to have a bunch of energy to like get started, right? But in the end, there's so much you get accomplished over a longer period of time, and amazing things can happen, but it takes a long time. I mean, I guess let me just take the example of we talked about me getting an accounting degree, right? And
Right.
so I'm like, okay, I'm a pretty smart guy, I guess. This is like this thing is like, I think there's like 10 courses. I should be able to finish this thing in like a year and a half max. But I had no idea what it took to start a business. And so when I jumped in, I'm like, okay, I think I was in 2 or 3 classes that semester. I mean, I was just blown out of the water of all the things that needed to get done. Like, there was no work, no money was coming in, like all this stuff, right? And I started talking to people about it. I'm like, well, should I just, pull back on the work and finish the degree and get it out of the way? And they're like, no, not that nobody cares, but if you can deliver a product or a service, and you get the education later on, you get the credentials and all the other little fancy letters after your name and that kind of stuff later on, like, deliver and make money and learn. That's the best way to grow. And so the idea that I ended up starting the degree in 2014 and finishing it at the end of 2018, like right before COVID. And if you told me that in the beginning, I would never have said, no way. There's no way it's going to take me like 5 years to finish this stupid degree. But in the end, like, the priorities were like, we got to grow the business. I moved 2 continents. I moved to America and back to Spain in that time period. Like, our business doubled in size. All this, revenues and profits were up significantly. So it's one of these things where it's like if you told me that, I never would have believed you, much less all the other stuff that we did. It's just that one thing. It's like, a concrete thing that could have taken 18 months, but in reality took much longer. And nobody, I don't know, not that nobody cared, but nobody asked me about it specifically. So
Right.
I think that whole thing is like, you gotta, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but you gotta get started.
Yeah, I don't know. I always sometimes there is this saying in Spanish. I'm not pretty sure how to say this in English, but maybe you can understand what I mean. That in Spanish we say, in order to finish a marathon, you need just to start with the first step. I'm pretty sure that's not an expression in English, but I guess you just need to start in order to accomplish something bigger. And yeah, I agree with everything that you said. I'm pretty sure that in the future there might be a software development owner, maybe walking and for some reason listening to this episode of Humans in Accounting, and probably this person wants to reach out to you, Chad. What's the best way for listeners and people and anyone just to reach out directly to you if they feel that they need an accountant?
Yeah, probably the best way is I'm on LinkedIn all the time. Chad Folse is the name, and or my website ABTAZ is the website for our company. But obviously I'm Burn Rate and Beyond, which is another fun one. We enjoy doing a lot. So yeah, good stuff. It's been a pleasure.
Perfect. So yeah, I'm gonna leave all these links in the comments. And Chad, I'm happy that we made this episode together. I don't know. I hope just to see you if I next time I'm in Spain or in Arizona, or if you come here to Argentina. I'll have just to see you in person. Do you usually go to events in the States?
Yeah, I try to make it to ZeroCon. That's the one we what do you call it? Main software provider is Zero, so we try to make it that. Not every year, but maybe every 2 years or something like that, kind of depending where it is and what the dates they coincide. But yeah, I go to. The other one I love a lot is Deeper Weekend. That's put on by the group called Thrival, Jason Blummer. That one I love. It's been a couple years since I've been to it, but I'm excited to try to get back to that. And then there's another one in DC in Christmas time this year. I can't remember the name of it is right now that I was thinking about checking out, but
I
yeah.
went to Deeper Weekend last year. It
Oh,
was
really?
great. Yeah, I was there in South Carolina and never been to ZeroCon, but I'm definitely gonna go there. So I'm sure that again, either in Spain, in Arizona, or in one of these events, or maybe here in Argentina, we'll see each other in the future. Chad, it
Exactly.
was really nice having you in Humans in Accounting. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Great to thank you all again. And we'll have to collaborate on in the future as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Have a good one. All right.
Ciao.